people, I already returned Charming as a Verb, but as I said in my last YouTube video, I really wanted to do a review on it. I can't hold it up while I talk about it. I like to do that. But before I start, let me show y'all what I'm reading next. I have been listening to audiobooks, so there's actually a lot more books that I've been listening to this year. But I think if I do reviews, it's probably going to be on the physical books that I have. But we're reading Single Dad's Club next. I just finished listening to And They Lived Happily Ever After, I think by the same author, and it was kind of mediocre, so I'm worried that this is going to be mediocre, but the cover is so pretty. I just have to believe that it's good. And you know, Black authors, her other one didn't hit, but like I almost can't see Black authors doing any wrong, even though they do sometimes. But like this one has to be good, right? Like the cover is too cute to be bad. It's too cute. So I'm about to start reading that after I do this review. But if you saw my last video, I was really excited when I was reading the book, and after finishing the book, I have mixed feelings. Oh, I don't think I left a review on Goodreads. I am still gonna give it 5 stars, even though in my head it's really like a 4, but in my heart it still gets a 5 because of how happy it was making me in the first 75%. So I don't know if like my reviews are usually spoiler free or not, but this one we're just gonna say what happens in the book. It is, well, I can't remember the characters' names. Corinne and Henry Haltiwanger. I don't know how to pronounce it. It was a Haitian last name, so my apologies if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But Henry and Corinne, they both go to the same school. Corinne is kind of like, I think I talked about it in my nighttime routine, but she gives on the spectrum, but it's never really declared. So I don't want to say that if it's not declared, but that's what she gives. And the reason why I say that is because it reminded me of me, and I'm also not diagnosed on the spectrum. But I just feel like we have the same vibe where you could consider the fact that this person may be on the spectrum. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how Corinne is. And the main character, Henry, is very outgoing, like social butterfly. People love him. He's parents of immigrants, and Corinne is parents of a African-American woman. And I think father too, but they just talk about him. He doesn't live with them. But yeah, I'm not gonna retell the whole story, but they have a beautiful romance in my opinion. And then they start dating. And basically, I don't know how many pages the book was in, but I feel like 20 pages into them getting together in the most beautiful way. 20 pages after that, because the whole thing leading up to it is beautiful. And then 20 pages after they start dating and you're like, this is gonna be beautiful, Henry makes the dumbass decision to forge a recommendation letter to his dream college from her mom, who works at his dream college. And that crushed my heart. It really did. Before we get into that choice he made, I want to talk more about the 75% when I was happy. He's outgoing and stuff, and like social butterfly, but you can tell he has a lot of pressure on him being the child of immigrants, and going to Colombia is almost like his dad's dream. And it also correlates to them being immigrants because when they were there as kids, they were basically told to leave as if they didn't belong, if that makes sense. So they've kind of formulated this whole dream for him to go to Colombia and stuff. So I want to say I get it. Like, I don't get his decision, but I understand the pressure he was under. And in the beginning of the book, he has a interview with someone who works there, or an alumni, to get a letter of recommendation. And it doesn't go well in the sense that the person he has a interview lunch with or whatever, she can just tell he's not necessarily going there for the right reasons, not even a bad way, but like it's from this whole dream that he formulated with his dad. But is it really his dream? It's like that type of question. So he feels like, I don't think he sees the letter of recommendation she writes, but he feels as though, and his counselor who knows this person kind of gives off the idea that the letter of recommendation either, I don't know if it doesn't get written or it's not written as well as you would need to get into that type of school. So Yeah, so because of that, he's kind of on, he doesn't have a plan to fix it, but like Corinne has a similar issue and she actually fixes the issue, but Henry can't really fix his issue. Like he can't have another meeting with this person and stuff like that. So he's really just like the whole book waiting to find out if he's getting in, and it's hanging in the background the whole book. But I guess I don't know if it's because I was distracted by the romance, but or if it's the writing and like maybe the author could have made the reader feel the weight a little bit more, but it felt more like I was focused on the romance and the main character was letting that loom over him. Like it wasn't really affecting me, probably because I'm not him. I'm not trying to get into Columbia. I don't care if he goes to Columbia. Corinne makes it actually seem like a beautiful idea for him to go to another school in Montreal, and you're kind of like already riding off with that idea. But you kind of realize later when he makes the decision that he does to forge the letter that you're seeing all this new possibility. So maybe it was beautiful writing the way I'm reading into it, but like you're seeing all the other options and the path he can take, the other path he can take that's not his dream path, but you can see that the other path is just as beautiful, if not better. But the main character himself, he can't see it because the whole Columbia thing is just looming over him. And when he makes the decision to forge the letter, it just like, it wins. Like the Columbia thing looming over him wins the battle. Even though so many beautiful things are happening in his life currently, but it's like he can't see it because the Columbia thing is just looming over him. So he forges that letter and he gets caught like immediately. And it's almost like, not to say he doesn't react, but I feel like the way you see it coming, he sees it coming too. Like he gets caught and it's kind of just like that. And then the rest of the book is just the consequences, which is also beautifully written. And like, I don't know. It was all beautifully written, but I would like to consider myself very morally sound. And I tend to not do things like that, if that makes sense. And I understand that this character is a high school senior and maybe I just see things differently because I'm older, but I also think that that was like 5 years ago for me. I think I was the same then and I still wouldn't have done what he did. There were other characters who didn't do what he did and probably had similar issues and stuff, but also he did go to a very well-off school. He was there on scholarship. He was around people who had the money to kind of like cut corners and stuff, and he envied that. So he was kind of like, if they can cut corners, why can't I? And that's why he did it. I really want to say I get it, but it just broke my heart when he did that. And things still worked out for him, but it's just the moral part of it really. And then because of it, of course, Corinne breaks up with him. But of course, it's a romance book. They get back together later on in college. But they go back to being friends before they get back together, which is a bit more realistic. But for me, I mean, maybe it is realistic because I think we should all want to be as forgiving as Corinne was. But for me, like, I finished the book and I'm still stuck on what he did. You know what I mean? But she forgave. It's a good lesson. It's a good lesson. So it deserves its 5 out of 5. I'm going to fix my rating on Goodreads. I think my Goodreads is Mickell.oo or just something similar to my name, if anybody cares to find it and see what I rate certain things. If I don't rate it, when I don't rate stuff, what does that mean? It kind of just means, I would say if you see a book that I read but I didn't rate it, just give it a 3 in your head. I just felt too bad to do it. But some books I give a 3, but like, I haven't been rating a lot of the audiobooks I read because sometimes I feel like the reader, like the voice who's reading the book can actually ruin it. And I'm like, let me not blame the reader for this book coming off as weird. Because that's how I felt about this author's book, And They All Lived Happily Ever After. I was like, I think the reader who read the audiobook for the sound might have just read it wrong. But yeah, trying to give it the benefit of the doubt and like hope that it wasn't the writing. But yeah, I don't know. This seems more somber than I wanted it to be, but I still love the book. It just ended on a sour note to me because of what the main character did. Even though, as you watch me speak about it for the last 10 minutes, I could rationalize what he did, but it doesn't make what he did right. And it's just like, and I know people make mistakes, but that was a big mistake. Like, that was a huge mistake. And the way everything kind of worked out for him, not necessarily too good to be true, but it was just like, and I don't even want to say I wish more consequences on him, but it was just kind of like, almost like realistic up until that point. And I don't know if it's up until the consequences weren't consequencing or up until he made the decision, because he also seemed so morally sound. Actually, no, he didn't, because of his Uptown Updogs thing. So maybe that's just how he was. But, and maybe he really learned his lesson from the whole college thing. I hope he did. I just hope he did. And I know he's young and you have to give grace and stuff, but it was such a bad decision in my eyes. I wonder how the author feels about it, because I just feel like authors don't really give out their perspectives on stuff, but I feel like it could offer so much clarity, because I'm having trouble getting past what the main character did, and I wonder if the author not really feels the same way or if that was their intention. But it was a good book. The relationship dynamics were beautiful. Even his friendship with Ming was beautiful. Even his acquaintanceships. I don't know if that's a word. His acquaintances, like his debate team, just the people from his school, the girl he had a thing with before Corinne, the guy he didn't even like, they all had like great dynamics. Yeah, the book definitely deserves a 5 out of 5, but I'm just so sad about his decision. I feel like I'm Corinne and I'm still working on the forgiveness part. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful book. Beautiful. Would I say like going to be favorite of the year? No. But I would say maybe my favorite book couple of the year. Yeah, or like second. But I don't know what first would be, but the whole, I don't know, I'm not good with a breaking of trust, and they did that and they made it work, but I don't know if I could make that work. But yeah, 5 out of 5, beautiful book. I'm probably gonna follow whatever the author writes, even though it looks like recently he hasn't really been reading like fictional romances. Like, I don't even know if that's his genre for real. I think he only had like 4 books, and like that one was like the only fictional romance one. So hopefully he does more. And also the fact that the author is a Black man, like, round of applause for that. Love that. But yeah, it was a beautiful book. I just know I feel like I have a somber tone this whole video, and my tone would be like how it was in my nighttime routine, where I'm so happy and I want to like hug the book if the main character hadn't done what he did. But yeah, that's how I feel about the book, you guys. I wish I could hold it. I love holding up the book when I talk about it, but yeah, I don't want to rant about it too much. And it's been like, what, 14 minutes? I feel like that's enough time of me rambling. I don't want to do a summary. I just want to give my thoughts, and I already summarized like main points. But yeah, beautiful book. Also, his relationship with his parents. I just feel like this year and a little bit towards the end of the year, authors have been writing relationships so good, and I want to give props to that as well. Because there was a book I read where the relationships were like so beautiful too. I can't remember what it's called. And I don't want to make up a book, but the relationships in these books I've been reading in the last year have been like top tier. And now I'm like, maybe we can grow into stopping the tropes or stopping the third act breakup. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're getting there, you guys. We might be getting there in these Black romances, but one can only hope. Okay, you guys, that's all. Bye, guys.